economic crisis always. We are where we are today because of the British policy in Nigeria. The late Queen Elizabeth is the person that stole all our money and gave it to British people. First of all, anybody who is saying that there is an Igbo coup in Nigeria is not well informed. And before Nigeria will be good, they need to start apologizing to Igbo people and pay them restitution of all the damages they have caused Igbos during the Civil War. What caused the problem of Civil War is that when Tafawa Balewa went to America in 1961, he went there and saw a very great country that is much better than Britain. He started shifting alliance and started listening to J.F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson, the Vice President of America. So they started discussing on how they can bring American style of leadership to Nigeria. And by so doing, Tafawa Balewa signed that they have to first change the car steering side to left, from right hand side to left hand side. So when the man returned to Nigeria, those things did not go down well with the British people. They know that if Nigeria started working in American style, they will lose markets in Nigeria. So they now get some trained, before you know it, as part of the agreement signed by Tafawa Balewa, over 400 and something army officials in Nigeria were sent to America for training. Instead of going to Britain, they are used to. And most of these army officials were Igbos in number. Igbos were more in number. About 70% of Igbos were there, because they seem to be the military commanders as of that time that worked with American and British people during the colonial era. So now, as this continued to happen, the British people saw that Nigeria is gradually aligning with the United States, copying the American style, copying their style of leadership, everything. They now instigated Chukwuma Nzogwu, a young graduate from Sandhurst, who was posted on training in Kaduna. Chukwuma Nzogwu, by all situation, he's not even an Igbo man, because he was born in Kaduna and raised there. He doesn't even speak Igbo. He speaks more Hausa than anybody can imagine to compare with Igbo. So they went down and instigated the young man that there's a lot of corruption in Nigeria, that the only way is to kill those leaders and bring in a new leadership. The young man got other measures, like Chris Anufuru them, and all of them agreed that they will go on the coup. It was a national coup. It was not a tribal coup. It was not an Igbo coup. All right? But, okay, if it is an Igbo coup, who was the first military casualty that died? Now, the coup succeeded in Kaduna. The only reason why the coup did not succeed in Lagos is because an Igbo man was the head of army in Lagos, which is Aguiyi Ironsi. Then, Aguiyi Ironsi was the one that was protecting Tafawa Balewa. But unfortunately, this coup plotters first went to Tafawa Balewa and grabbed him and Kotiebo, and they grabbed them. And now, after they have secured them, they now went to get Amore. They believe that because they are Igbo people, that once they get to Amore, because the person, the quartermaster general of Nigerian army then was an Igbo man, Ato Chinenye Unebu. He was the one in charge of the Amore, where all the Nigerian Amore was kept. When they got to his house in Napapa, a young man that was trained in Sandhurst, when they got to his house in Napapa, they asked him for the key. The Igbo man that led the team believed that because Chinenye was an Igbo man, that he should equally hand over the key to him. But the young man refused to hand over the key to the Nigerian armory to the coupist. That was how the coup failed. They killed the man instantly there. When they killed him, they became frustrated because there's no way they could get access to the armory to fight Aguiyi Ironsi's men in the Ikeja. All right? Because of that, the coup failed in Lagos. When the coup failed in Lagos, Ironsi mobilized Ojukwu in Kano to forestall the coup there. The coup also failed in Kano. All the coup plotters, they went disarray and started running helter-skelter. So now tell me, if Chinenye, if Akwa Chinenye Unebu, an Igbo man, refused to the Quartermaster General of Nigerian Army, refused to hand over the key armory to Chris Aluforo, the leader there. If he refused to hand over, and he was killed in presence of his pregnant wife, then how come are you not saying that Gowon and his group said that it was an Igbo man that planned the coup? So, what I understand, after the first coup, the January 15, 1960 coup, that was instigated by British people for them to gain control or create confusion in Nigeria in order to gain more control. After the first coup, they now went back to the northern generals, northern army, and told them, why are you people behaving like cowards? You allowed the Igbos to kill your brother and you can't do anything. So it was that same type of instigation that made the armies in the northern tribes to now begin to think of revenge. So they now planned their own coup against Aguiyi-Ironsi. Aguiyi-Ironsi was just unfair in the whole arrangement. He was doing his best to reconcile every party. He has called meetings with all the emirs in the north, trying to pacify them. That's why he still retained the northern as his ADC, as against the advice of some Igbo leaders that he should change him, which is T.Y. Danjuma. So all I'm saying that I have done a lot of research. I have read widely enough to come to the conclusion that British people connived with other, super powers in the country, like Russia and Israel and some Egyptians. They came and murdered a lot of Igbos between 1967 and 1970, just to create a way for them to subdue the Igbo people and allow them to continue to formulate policies that doesn't favor the country. Because the July 66 coup that killed Aguiyi-Ironsi, not only did it kill Aguiyi-Ironsi, it killed Nigeria as a whole. Because 450 military officers, military commanders of Igbo extraction, army engineers, were killed within 2 days between Lagos cantonment and the Abeokuta cantonment. And the strength of this nation, was built around this same army. The engineers, the intelligence, everything that could have held and form a nation and take this country to a greater height was wiped away within 2 days by the coup second coup instigated by British people. So what I'm trying to say in conclusion is that the greatest enemy Nigeria has is the British people, because they continue to maneuver us and manipulate us, take our money to build their country, London, and now begin to ask us to come with. So initially, we don't go to Britain with visa. It was an open trip. But when they have taken all our money, put us in confusion, they tied their border. Now we can't come in unless you come with their visa. So what I'm telling you guys, know where the problem is coming from. However, God has given me the ability to interpret it, and I can equally give you guys the solution to this problem when the time comes. Wait for the next message.